Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to the new tutorial from the SketchUp Work Studio. Today I'm going to show you how you can create some realistic renders in Enscape, very simple and easy with only using some few steps and tips. So first of all, I'm going to talk about these materials you can see in here. All of these materials sets before, so we don't have any type of a special job in this place. But about the rendering, we have lots of tips and tricks. So before we start this video, like and subscribe our YouTube channel, and let's get to work. I'm gonna start my job with the save frame, so I'm gonna click on the save frame in here. Right side and left side are completely on our control. So I'm gonna click on the visual setting in this place. I want to change the resolution of my job to some type of resolution about 4:3 aspect ratio. For this reason, and changing resolution, click on the output box and turn your resolution to the custom mode. And now you can type your own numbers, for example 9020 to 1600, and this is my favorite resolution in this place. You can turn it to the 1440 and it can be really good, or 1280, some type of 1.1 resolution. Alright, I can change the file format to the JPG, and it's really good for our job. And about the sky option, I want to add some type of HDRi I downloaded before. For this reason, you can click on the white ground and change it to the sky box. But I prefer to use this default sky about the Enscape HDRi in here. For this reason, I only want to change it to the white cubes, and now we have good HDRi in this place. I'm going to start my job with creating the camera. For this reason, I'm going to press F on my keyboard. I'm going to fix my camera position, something like this. And I want to click on the create view option in here. First of all, I want to change this name to the C1 and add it to my favorite cameras. I don't want to link this render to any type of visual presets, so I'll link it. Very simple. XYZ is about 4.66. Y is about your eye height, about 122 is good. And about the Z option, I can type negative 0.78. And my job is done in here. About the pitch option, I can type 0 to have some straight camera line. Or if I increase this number to the 6, for example, I can see upstairs too. But I prefer to use a standard camera, and it's 0. The Y is about 65.3. And the sun brightness is really important. For this reason, before I click on the create view, I want to show you how you can change the sun in your environment. So I hold shift and right click and move my cursor a little bit. I want to have more light and sun brightness on these dining room in here. So I can change it very simple and easy about, for example, 742. And I think it can be good. Azimuth and altitude can be manually set about 26, and azimuth about 178, and I can press create. So when I click on the C1, all the light setting will be converted to the C1 project. So about the view management, we don't have any job, so I close it. Next step for rendering related to the visual setting. I'm clicking on the visual setting right now, and I want to turn off the auto exposure. Now I can change the exposure manually, very simple and easy, as you can see. Something about 57 can be really good. And field of view helps you to zoom on your main object or subject. So I prefer to use lower numbers, some type of things like that. Alright, as you can see, we have this type of screen in here, and it's really wonderful. So I'm going to type field of view 62-degree horizontal, and the depth of field helps you to focus on one thing. For example, you can focus on these vines on this table, or you can focus on this mirror or MDF woodworkings. I prefer to turn it on, turn off the autofocus, and I can play with the focal point to reach to the best result for my job. I want to focus on these vines in here, so I hold my brightest line on one of these vines in this place. 3.24 meter is good, and depth of field is about 9%, and rendering quality is not important right now. About the image bar, I want to turn on the auto contrast to manage all light calculation, very simple and easy. Color temperature helps you to create the colors in Kelvina. If I decrease it, look at these render, we will have some type of warm render. But when I increase it, the weather will get cold and colors will be desaturated. So I prefer to use some number about 6000 Kelvina, and you can download this rendering preset in here below this video. I upload the link for you. So saturation is about 102%. Lens flare related to these shiny places. If I increase the lens flare, you can see the changes in my environment, but it's not realistic. And when I increase the bloom option, you can see more reflect and lens flare in this place. So it's not really realistic and it can be really artistic. I prefer to use some number about 16% and lens flare is about 46. Now it's much better. Vignette is about 10 and chromatic abbreviation is not important. At the atmosphere bar, you can turn off the fog option. When I decrease the sun brightness to the 0, we will have some type of raw GI calculation. And I want this type of thing right now. Night sky brightness is not important and shadow sharpness. For interior renderings, I prefer to use lower numbers in shadow sharpness, because usually most of the shadows in environment are really soft. And artificial light brightness related to the spotlights and self-illuminate lights. So I'm going to close this option in here, minimize my Enscape, click on the interior rendering in SketchUp, like that. And I'm going to use some hidden lights for my job. First of all, I'm going to start my job with the self-illuminated lights. So I'm going to click on the Enscape material editor and start from the misty rose, my first hidden light. When I convert it to the self-illuminate, you can see some type of very weak line of power and luminance behind this mirror. When I click on the seashell and convert it to the self-illuminate, you can see these lights turned on for me. And in the pale golden mode, I can change it from generic to self-illuminate. And now we have these lights in here. Light yellow is one of my favorite self-illuminated lights, and when I turn it on, we can see these self-illuminates on the sailing. And about the another type of lightings, I'm going to click on these spotlight in here. So when I click on these spotlight, I can click on the Enscape object and increase the intensity of this light. It takes a little bit time and you can achieve to the best result that you want. Something like that. I prefer to use some number about 10,000 candela and press enter. And this is the result that you can see in here. And I'm gonna deselect it and turn back to the C1 camera shot and click on the visual setting. And now I can click on the atmosphere and increase the sun brightness a little bit. Alright, as you can see, now the screen is much better. So we have two steps for lighting. First of all, I set the self-illuminate and artificial light brightnesses. After that, I turn on the sun brightness to control my scene in here. So somewhere about 36% can be really good for the sun brightness, or I can reduce it a little bit, about For example, 16%. So in the artificial light brightness, I can increase the spotlight power about the environment. And you can see the result of it very simple and easy. I prefer to use 104% and ambient brightness related to the inside lighting and outside some brightness lighting. 63% is good and wind is about 0. In Skybox, I'm going to turn off all the clouds, so I convert all of them to the 0%. And this is the final image we have in here. So I'm going to click on the image bar in here, reduce the color temperature a little bit near to the morning, and you can see the changes in here. But be careful to don't use it on high values or low values. Something about 4000 candela or Kelvina is really good. And when I increase the lens flare, actually we don't have any type of lens flare right now because some brightness completely take down. So 46% is good, and in the main bar I think everything is done for me right now. So I can increase the exposure about 60%, something like that, but it can be burned someplace in here. So I prefer to use 56% or 58%. And in the image bar I can increase the saturation a little bit to make my render much sharper and close this window. For the material editor, I can change the reflection power about these surfaces in here related to the woodworking. So I select dark gray in here, and when I decrease the roughness, you can see more reflections on this surface. So it's not realistic totally, so I prefer to make it a little bit fade, and some parameter about 41% is really good for it, like that. Alright, everything is done. I'm gonna click on the misty rose in here, convert it to the white light. Look at these mirror in here. I want to increase it a little bit. And this is the simple result in this place. I'm gonna add my favorite number, and about the seashells, first of all, roughness is 0 and power about 12,000 candela. Pale golden ore is about 12,000 candela, and the color is white. Roughness is about 0, and I will come back to the this place that called visual setting, but this time I'm going to click on the atmosphere and take sun to the 4% to see what happened. As you can see, now the lighting is much better than the past, but if I increase it a little bit to the 24%, I will have more brighter things in here. But it have some big contrast with the artificial light brightness, so I prefer to use some number about 12%, and it's really good. For the final step, I'm going to click on the Enscape material editor, light yellow, and change it to the 0. The spectra is about 76, and the color is about white. The power is about 36,000 candela, and now it's much better. So I'm going to maximize my render and the screen in here, and I'm going to press screenshot in this place. I want to save it on my desktop, and the name is not important, so I'm going to click on the save option. As you can see, it takes a little bit time, and you can see the final result very simple and clear in here. I'm going to open this render to check it out. This is the result that we have in this place. Another time, I'm going to train another render with you. So I'm going to click on the visual setting, output. This time I'm going to change the resolution to the Ultra HD. And I want to click on the F on my keyboard, click on the create view. And I'm going to change my camera position a little bit. Something like that. Alright, something like that can be really good. The pitch is about 0, the yaw is about 90 degree, 5, 1.24, and negative 2.46. Alright, I'm gonna change this name to the C2 and add it to my favorites. And I want to change the lighting a little bit. This time I'm gonna increase the sun brightness about 66 and change the sun direction, something like that. Alright, and I can add the azimuth to the 180% and altitude is about 30 degree, and click on the create option in here. So when I click on the C2, now we have these lighting in here. So I'm gonna click on the visual setting in this place, and I'm gonna click on the image bar. This time I want to increase the bloom option and lens flare. Lens flare is about 80% and the bloom option is about 26. In atmosphere place, in here, when I increase the sun brightness much more, you can see lens flare much touchable in this render. So 100% for sun brightness, shadow is 0, and now I want to decrease the artificial light brightness about 88%. So everything is done right now. In the sky option, we don't have any job, so in the main bar, everything is good. I only want to increase the rendering quality to the ultra, and the focal point is not bad. Something like this, 3.06, and the depth of field is about 8%, and time for the rendering. I click on the screenshot in this place and save another render. It takes a little bit time and it depends on your system, hardware, and config. So I think this render can be much better than the previous one. We have some light burnings behind the mirror, but it's not important. So I think Enscape will start the job very soon. It takes a little bit time, and I think it will be over about 10 seconds. So 20%, 25, 30, 35, 40, and I think it will be over right now. So as you can see, all the lightings are completely standard and it can be really useful. Takes a little bit time and I think it's over. So I'm gonna open the new render in here, and this is the final result of it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. Thanks for your watching. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel and share this video if you like this video. Thanks for your watching and goodbye.